Welcome to Kinks and Beats Daily. I'm your host, Tony Fry. This is episode 124. I thank you for downloading. Today, we are talking about a pretty obscure Kinks song for people who aren't diehard fans of the Kinks, but it is one on an album we've talked about quite a bit so far, and an album that I think ranks among their best early albums and maybe the start of their golden age period. This song is called Holiday in Waikiki. It was released October 28th, 1966 on their album Face to Face, and it opens side 2. It was also included on the Kinks Chronicles, which was released in 1972. When they changed record labels, Kinks Chronicles was released with a bunch of obscure tracks, rarities, B-sides, things like that. And actually, it's a fantastic collection of songs. It was in print for a long time and may have hurt Ray a bit because it was such a well-acclaimed song or album that, as Doug Hinman says in his book, the Kinks were now competing against this album that was very different than what they were doing as a band. By 1972, they are shifting into their concept album phase, and we're getting outtakes from the Face to Face album. Nonetheless, outside of the context of the times, it's a good collection of songs. It holds up, and it works on Face to Face as well. This is one of those tunes that I would never claim is my favorite Kinks song, but I never skip it. It's a solid, classic rhythm and blues inspired tune. This is a straight up tribute to the types of music that the Kinks grew up listening to. And it's got a killer rhythm track. Mixed drumming is phenomenal on it. It opens with, like I said, it opens side 2, which is, it opens with the sounds of waves crashing on the beach. And you would think with those waves crashing on the beach and a title like Holiday in Waikiki, that maybe we're going to get in a Hawaiian-inspired tune, something more like Sitting by the Riverside or something like that. But instead, Mick kicks in with these, this really heavy drum beat, and then we get this jangly guitars and this real dissonant guitar tone that is clearly emanating a sitar. It's an electric guitar part, but the way he's playing it, the way he's bending his notes and sliding from one note to the other, he's clearly imitating a sitar, which by 1966 is kind of a standard instrument in the rock and roll band arsenal at that time. The Stones have used it. The Beatles obviously have used it. The Kinks are using that influence for sure in this. Speaking of the Stones, this song sounds a whole lot like 19th Nervous Breakdown by the Stones, which was released about 8 months ahead of Holiday in Waikiki. Now, this song was probably started recording around April 18th, 1965. There's not a ton of information about specific songs. We know they were in the studio that day. Ray seems to recall that this song was started in the same sessions as the other songs recorded this day, but they were not as documented as bands like from EMI Studios, and they definitely weren't spending weeks and weeks at a time in the studio. At this point, they are dropping in for a day here, a day there between gigs, and recording 3, 4, 5 tracks in a sitting in one session. So this tune is probably recorded April 1966. I think I said 65 a minute ago. I meant 66. And for inclusion on the next album, which comes out October. The Stones song had only come out in February 1966. So it had been out when they recorded this. And it was a top 5 hit all around the world, top 2 hit around most of the world. So the reason I bring this up, they're so similar. They're in the same key. They use the same chords. It's a basic, they're both using blues chords. It's 1, 4, 5. The Stones song uses it in a more traditional blues fashion, where Ray here seems to hang on to the one chord a little bit longer than you normally would. His is not a standard 12-bar blues, even though it uses those same three chords. Um, but they're both in the same key, even, which is not unusual either. The key of E is a very natural chord or key for guitar players to write songs in. But the reason I bring it up, really, with the groove very similar, with the melody almost too similar in spots, the overall sound of this recording, you have to wonder if the Kinks missed the chance to have another huge hit by releasing this as a single. And okay, fine. They had plenty of hits going in their favor. Sunny Afternoon is on this album, for crying out loud. But they were also releasing a new single or album like every 3 weeks practically. So it seems like Holiday in Waikiki might have been a logical one to slide into the mix. I wonder why it wasn't even a B-side. I won a competition and a little column in my local paper, so I packed my bags and I flew across the sea, all on my local baker. Sailing to Hawaii in the USA, I'm just an English boy who won a holiday in Waikiki. I didn't realize it was commercialized when I unpacked my pieces, because a genuine Hawaii ukulele cost me 30 guineas. And even when I'm swimming, I have to pay. I'm just an English boy who won a holiday in Waikiki. Across the coral sands, I saw hula hula dancing, looking pretty. I asked her where she came from, and she said to me, I come from New York City, and my mother is Italian, and my dad's a Greek. I'm just an English boy who won a holiday in Waikiki. This is the most Ray Davies lyric you could possibly think of. The guy wins a trip to Hawaii, and all he's doing, the character of this song, I mean, is pissing and moaning about the fact that it's expensive, that it's inauthentic. Um, it's a clever lyric. Most people, would assume Holiday in Waikiki to be a happy song, and this is kind of he's one of those guys that lays on the beach complaining that he's got sand in his feet and getting a sunburn on his forehead. It's a ooga ooga on the shining briny on the way to Kona, and in a little shack they had a little sign that said a Coca-Cola. Maybe that's why this wasn't a single, huh? Would have had to have said cherry cola. And even all the grass skirts were of PVC. I'm just an English boy who won a holiday in Waikiki. How can you not like songwriting like that? And the lyrics, he fits a lot of lyrics into this song, which I think is what gives it that similarity to 19th Nervous Breakdown, because that song also has a lot of lyrics crammed into one little tune. So that's it. There's nothing crazy about it. It's just a good early Kinks rock song, and proves that at their roots they are a rock band, blues-based rock band that can deliver the goods, because there's not an element of this song that doesn't work based on its intentions. I really wish this would have been released as a single. I think this could have been a hit. If I could go back in time, musical history revisiting, I might have tried to convince Ray to release this one. So go ahead and listen to it. It's on our Spotify playlist, Kinks and Beats Daily Spotify playlist, where you can listen to all the songs we're going to cover this week, all the songs we have already covered. And I'm working on a little surprise project for all you guys that I hope you will enjoy and take advantage of. And if you like that this podcast doesn't have commercials on it, help me keep it that way, and consider contributing $4 a month over at herohabit.com to Kinks and Beats support, and you will occasionally get early access to bonus episodes as a thank you from me. Helps us keep the lights on, helps us keep these podcasts short and commercial free, except, of course, for the commercial I'm saying right now directly to you. All right. Thanks for listening. Go swing by iTunes, leave me a 5-star rating and review, And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. This podcast is presented by the Hero Habit Podcast Network. Swing by HeroHabit.com today to comment on this episode and poke around our growing database of sports and pop culture news, reviews, and collectibles. HeroHabit.com. Collect your heroes.